Bonjour, this is Jasmine. Thank you so much for stopping to smell the roses on Rue Madame. For those of you who are new to the neighborhood, I am a writer, a storyteller, and a community builder. I write about culture, politics, parenthood, and my life here in France. If you want to check out some creative writing, head over to Patreon and become a resident of Rue Madame. My latest essay is about minimalism versus materialism. Are we living to work or are we working to live? Check that out, become a resident, make a pledge, and support a writer. Thank you so much. And as you know, I am also an author, so check that out as well. Joelle Confronts the Weather with What's in the Cupboard is now available. The link to that is in the description. Thank you again. This video, I'd like to discuss some topics of the week, and more importantly, the announcement of Kamala Harris being the VP pick for Joe Biden. That's big news. I wanted to talk about it. So first, let's talk about that. Kamala Harris, a Black woman, is the VP pick, and that's another history-making moment if she does become the vice president, if Joe Biden wins in November. So happy for her. I'm excited to see the dynamics work out if this does come to fruition, this Joe Biden, Kamala Harris team. As far as Kamala Harris, she was never really on my radar, to be quite honest. When she was running for president, she was very lukewarm, in my opinion. She's a former prosecutor, and she has a history of, being hard on drugs and a rap sheet of sending nonviolent criminals, majority Black and brown people, to jail. That was her job. I'm not going to knock her for doing her job well. That was her job. But I think that was the reservations a lot of people in our community had about her. Can't really trust the police. That's the type of mentality we have. So I was never really interested or intrigued by what she had to offer as far as policy. My pick was more progressive. I was more of a Sanders and Warren hopeful as far as them getting elected. But be that as it may, we're here now, and Joe Biden is the person that is looking to take over the throne as president. I also have an essay about my feelings on Joe Biden, and I have that over on Patreon. It was actually a magazine submission that I sent in, telling my stances, my viewpoint on his electability and my viewpoint as a Black millennial who's looking to reduce my student loan debts and maybe buy a house in the future, or prosper, as this generation is really under a lot of burdens as far as the pandemic and the recessions and blah, blah, blah. So I titled this video, Kamala is no Nina, because as far as politics is concerned, this is not my first interest, politics. I do the research that I need to when it's required of me as far as voting, etc. But Nina Turner is a politician. I think she's out of Delaware, if I'm not mistaken, or I don't know. So Nina Turner is very famous. She was one of the main members of the Sanders campaign. Very outspoken, very live, very real, very unapologetic, and she's like an auntie in my head. Like, my aunties are very strong and powerful and graceful, intelligent women, and it just brings me to Nina Turner. So Nina Turner is in my head. You know what I mean? If we were to pick a black woman as president or vice president, it would be Nina Turner, of course. Even a couple celebrities shouted out Nina Turner or wanted to raise, awareness of her. A talk show host or a radio head or somebody wanted to get Nina Turner on the ticket. Obviously, that didn't happen because Nina Turner is also a big criticizer of Joe Biden, because Joe Biden is very status quo and run of the mill, not very exciting or progressive, which is understandable. So yeah, Nina Turner. But I just wanted to talk about Nina Turner just for a couple more seconds. If you look her up online, she recently had words for Deborah Messing, actually. So Nina Turner was calling out this liberal, so-called progressive celebrity for claiming that African Americans would vote for Kanye West, and it would take votes from Joe Biden, etc., etc. And Nina Turner just clapped back and said, black voters aren't required to vote for Joe Biden. Number one, they can make up their minds for themselves. Number two, and number three, making it the assumption that African Americans will vote for Kanye West just because he's Kanye West, just because he's an artist, rapper. It's kind of condescending, and it's like an insult to our intelligence as black folks. And Nina Turner called her out. It was just it's just icing on the cake. I love Nina Turner. Please look her up. She has a podcast also on Patreon. Look it up. It's called Hello Somebody or something like that. Look it up. It's really interesting. But back to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, as far as why she was elected, I think it's because her record of policing and the fact that there's people in the street protesting, there's a lot of chaos or rioting or just disorder in our society, and the fact that she's black and she's a part of the police in some way. She was a prosecutor. She also was a big criticizer also of Joe Biden when she pointed out that Joe Biden was for or against busing minority students at the time in the 60s, 70s, and Joe Biden was against that. So Kamala Harris called her out. Good for Kamala. She had a lot of momentum at the beginning of her campaign. Anyways, I wanted to bring up another interesting observation that I had. I saw a lot of people shouting out Kamala Harris, go Kamala, history in the making. I'm also very happy that this is happening. But I think it's important to note that Kamala Harris is moderate leaning. She's not super progressive. She's not super conservative. She's like, I guess a good pick for Joe Biden because she's, I wouldn't say status quo, but like in the middle. And I think she has the right temperament for the position. And I think that's why she was chosen out of the entire list of minority women that was apparently on the list. So she has a temperament. She's not too, she's not too brazen, I guess. But she also has a stern disposition. So, yeah. So that's number one. And as far as her compared to Nina Turner, the fact that she is, how do I say this? She has a look. She has a look. She can pass if you were to do a quick overview of a crowd. She can pass as, oh, I'll leave that there. So she has the look also. So she has the temperament, the look. And I just made a video, or just posted a video, about Black women and how we have this stereotype of being angry and loud and strong and too strong, manly strong. So she doesn't give those vibes. And the fact that she is mixed race, I was thinking to myself, like, there's a lot of firsts. There was the first Black president who was mixed race, and now the first Black potential vice president who's mixed race. And I was asking myself, is that a coincidence? Because that's also a thing in the Black community as far as colorism and having a spot for Black people who have a proximity to white or have a proximity to non-Black. Because if I'm not mistaken, Kamala Harris is half Indian from India and half Afro-Jamaican. And that also plays a part as far as her aesthetic, her appeal to the public, which I thought was interesting. And and I guess that can be also said about Barack Obama. I wonder if that's a coincidence. Tell me what you think. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But that's that. So in summary, congratulations to Kamala Harris. Hopefully she becomes the vice president and she does well. I hope her the best. But she is no Nina Turner. Love Nina Turner. Check out her podcast and check out her credentials. She's phenomenal. Love Nina. Other things I wanted to talk about was the topics of the week. So you have Kamala, you have the music, love Megan Thee Stallion. She has is featured on a video with another female artist, Cardi, and that exploded. People were talking about it. I'm like, something else about women and them policing women's sexuality, and what is this about? I didn't even want to watch it. I didn't want to listen to the song. I'm like, okay, this is another social media drama. I don't care that much, even though I'm a really big fan of Megan Thee Stallion. So I listened to some of it. It was a nice beat and it was, very sexualized video and everything like that. But I still didn't get why there was so much vitriol and policing of the video, especially by men, surprisingly. And a lot of men would say, oh, women can do this, but when men do it and sexualize women, it's not the same thing. You don't have the same reaction. And then you have other people saying, oh, they're going to make girls want to be strippers, or girls want to be prostitutes, or girls want to be fast. And it was just so much. And I'm like, okay. I saw a post. Let me look it up for you. So the comedian Jasmine C. Ellis wrote a hilarious post about this. She was referring to parents, moms, dads, or just people in general who has something to say about this video of Cardi and Megan Thee Stallion, the WAP song. And Jasmine C. Ellis said, parents of Twitter who are terrified of their daughters becoming strippers, do not panic. I grew up in the Lil Kim Foxy Brown era and never considered sex work until Sally Mae got involved. Hashtag WAP ain't the problem, debt is. So Sally Mae, the loan provider, loan shark, if you will, for college and college students, that's the problem. Not being able to afford regular necessities like an education. I never considered getting a sugar daddy, sugar mama, considering sex work, stripping, etc. until I went off to college. And not me, but what Jasmine C. Ellis was saying, until you see those college bills in your tuition, you say, okay, I need to get some money. I don't want to be in debt until I'm in my 50s. There's some other solutions. So what she was saying is Cardi's song with Megan Thee Stallion is the least of your worries. But I do not also want to pretend that music doesn't influence culture, which influence people, which influence children. Yes, but let's get to the root and stop picking at these women who are just doing their job, who's in entertainment, who are not responsible for the upbringing of our kids, even though they have a small nugget in that. And by the way, I spoke to Jasmine C. Ellis, very hilarious comedian, successful, and a lot of views, a lot of followers. She agreed to talk to me in the following week about her post. I'm very excited about it. So check that out. Become a patron. I'll probably put it on the exclusive patrons only platform. So check that out as well. What else did I want to mention? Also, we went out of town again to the beach, and it was phenomenal. Had a really relaxing 4 days this time. But I just want to remind everybody to stay safe and stay masked and stay vigilant on your health and the cleanliness and the proximity around you, because that's very important. We went to the coast again, Normandy, Bretagne, that area, and it was so packed. It was a record for how many people that was in Deauville, which is very popular, well-to-do city on the coast. Couldn't even find a parking spot. So apparently a lot of the French are staying in France for the holidays. They're not going to Spain or Italy or Portugal. They're staying in France, which was the explosion of all the beaches. But I did want to share a little bit of my life here, since that's what Rue Madame is about. So I'll give you a couple videos and pictures. So I'll be back. So that was our vacation this last weekend, and it was, I don't know, it was even more eye-opening than the last couple of weekends that I told you about, because it really opened my eyes on France. I've been here for, it's going on 7 years, and the Paris region is very different than the coast and the countryside. And it's weird too because I feel like it's very homogenous also. So you have a lot of gray, a lot of white buildings. There's not a lot of color as far as the architecture, but it's very, very beautiful and old and ancient. So, but I saw the coastal beach cities or the beach towns, and it just made me appreciate the authenticity and the history even more. I'll share a little bit more of that over on Patreon, so check that out. And I think that's it for this video. Stay hydrated. It's very hot. It's been in the 90s this whole week. And I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.